on, guys, let's get creative! Get creative! Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
I have some stories for you today. These stories concern how fucking stupid I was as a child. We're going to do one of those videos, and even though it's super late as a topic, I don't care, because everyone already did it last year, but stupid never dies. This video in particular is going to be focusing on shows and movies that scared me as a kid, but since this channel does have a dedicated section on horror, I figured I wouldn't stop there, and I might make a part 2 at some point after this, where I talk about spooky stories and things in general outside of this topic that scared little old me, including the driveway. Yes, I distinctly remember I was scared of the driveway at one point. Let's talk about that later though. I don't know if I'll actually make that yet. So you've probably already seen the video I did of Chop Socky Chucks, and if you haven't seen him, there you go, link in the description. But I'll also quickly recap it for you because I want to be nice like that. So when I was around 9 or 8, I think, I had this dream about a show and then I got really scared because it was a nightmare and I never wanted to watch it again. Now all of these are kind of along the same vein, but some of them are pretty weird. Like an episode of Friends. I'm being serious here. The episode in question is the one with Ross's Grant. Episode number 6 of season 10, I think. It was as bland as any other Friends episode, and watching it now, I would just wonder why I watched Friends at any point. However, it has a vaguely creepy storyline, and for a little youngin' like me, that meant nightmares. I was around 6 years old, so take it easy on me. Ross gets some paleontology grant application thing, and the person who looks at the applications is his girlfriend's ex. Rewatching the episode for this video, I had completely forgotten about this part, and we are not coming back to it because I still don't care. Most of the shit that scared me was just my imagination. I mean, there wasn't really any. While Ross is doing this boring thing no one cares about, Phoebe cleans her apartment and finds some pretty creepy portraits her friend made her. These are horrifying. Predictably, people don't want it at first, but then for no reason they suddenly do and they start fighting over them. Surprisingly, unlike the impression that I just gave you, the mannequin portraits themselves are minimal in the scares. They didn't really ever affect me, but it's the story that comes with these portraits that made me see them in a scary way. So for whatever reason, Phoebe tells Joey that one of the mannequins is this demon thing that is missing its legs. So it just goes out of the frame at night and you can hear it dragging itself on the floor of your house and clawing at the door to your bedroom to steal your legs. And to add to this fucking look on Joey's face. God, it was just really creepy at the time. And again, for some weird reason, this definitely shaped my horror taste as a person. All of these did. As I said in my Chooks video, there are plenty of creepy things that I saw on TV as a kid that did not fuck with me. So I think it's just one of those things. I'm getting ahead of myself again. At this time, I think the episode scared me more because I was staying in this sort of holiday area with my family during winter on a trip, and all the lights were off in this kind of creaky old cabin with a fireplace that was pretty much the only light source in the room. So it was pretty scary at the time. Okay, next one. I love Blackadder. These people are geniuses, and I've always loved Blackadder ever since I was a really small kid. But around the same time as the Friends thing happened, I finally watched the Blackadder Christmas special. Now before you say anything, I know I was probably too young to be watching stuff like Monty Python and Blackadder, but I grew up on those and I'm fine. And my parents never really let me watch anything that was way too inappropriate at that age. I love the series and I still do, but once again, it was a dark and stormy night as I settled to watch the episode. It's actually a pretty good episode. It plays with the idea of a character being visited by the Christmas spirits and having some change of heart, like a redemption arc. But here, Blackadder actually has a reverse redemption arc because he sees how he should logically be a bad guy instead because he would get more material wealth that way. At the end, he's being visited by the Queen, and the Queen is about to give him some prize money for being such a good person, but he's really mean to her and he doesn't get the money, so it ends up with him being angry. The episode was up to the part where Blackadder had settled into his bed, and this is where the weirdness began. There was a ghostly glow on the screen as the room grew cold. There was a sort of tension in the air that meant only bad things, surely. Then there was a thunderous crashing as the door flew off its hinges in a violent rage and Robbie Coltrane stepped in. But yeah, I jumped. A lot. I had seen some of the Harry Potter films at this point, so I knew who this guy was, but he was still scary because I knew this was a different character and, well, the room was spooky, damn it. But this episode aside, the real reason that I was creeped out is because I was always terrified by the idea of door portal things. There's just something about a door not opening where it should. Like a closet, and a closet not opening into a closet, but opening into another place, and you not even knowing that the place is there or how it manifested. Like someone lurking around the corner and you don't even know it. Especially in somewhere like your own house where it's supposed to be safe. That's kinda scary. Like Hagrid coming out of the green portal door here. So the next is a little embarrassing for me, but I'll have to explain why. I dislike Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's not a very good writer, and one of the reasons why I stopped watching Criminal Minds, and I never really liked anything she was in. She tries to make everything super modern and trendy and puts all this shitty, shallow relationship drama in it that doesn't work. That's just my opinion personally, it's fine if you like her, but she had a show you probably know of called Ghost Whisperer. One day I was looking for ghost shows on TV because I love them, and I saw this show. I got pretty disappointed because it was more sort of an emotional show and not really scary, but I kept watching anyways. The fuck is this puke relationship drama crap? Said little kid me. I wanna watch some fun stuff. I'm too edgy for this. But I watched it and continued until it hit the Bloody Mary episode, and then I stopped. The Bloody Mary episode was generic and basically followed the main character, Ghost Whisperer lady, hearing this beeping noise and seeing this Bloody Mary looking person. But in the end it turns out it wasn't Bloody Mary. But it's actually a ghost of someone with a particular heart condition and had a heart attack, and her pacemaker started beeping when she died because she was pranked by her friends who scared her when daring her to do a Bloody Mary challenge and pretending that they were actually the ghost and jumping and scaring her. This shit scared the crap out of me, weirdly enough, not because of the actual ghost, but the idea of being scared to death. I didn't understand how heart failure and all that worked, so I interpreted it as someone actually being frightened to death. They died from being frightened. This made me frightened, and then I thought I might die from being frightened, and then I got more frightened. It was a weird night. Fucking stupid little shit me. Was this edgy enough for you, me? Before I continue to the last ones, let me just quickly run through some other ones. They don't really have to do with anything much, but I'll just get to them because I think they're funny. So firstly, I was afraid of puppets quite severely. Basically people in costumes too. I actually vaguely remember trying to punch the lady in Disneyland who was dressed up as Ariel from The Little Mermaid because my mom was trying to put me in her arms to take a picture and I just wasn't having it. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I always liked the story Candle Cove, the creepypasta, and it's just the idea of puppets. For some reason I really loved Bear in the Big Blue House and Barney and stuff, but if I saw them in real life, it would just not be okay. Like, I know it's just a costume and everything, but at the time it was just not okay. Like, you are supposed to be in the TV, what are you doing here? Secondly, this logo scared the fuck out of me. For some reason, I would jump on a chair or a couch or whatever and make sure that I wasn't touching the floor when the logo got to the loudest part. It was like a game, but with me being actually creeped out and feeling like I had to do it instead of just some stupid made-up consequence. Weird. Now let's talk about some other ones. Next is Kids Next Door. It was a pretty alright show, actually, and I stopped watching a lot of cartoons ages ago, but I think it still holds up. The one episode in particular didn't really have a special part to it. It was just an ordinary kind of episode, except for the ending, which I'll get to in a minute. Just detailing where and how the family dynamic came from in this weird, typical cartoon style. Something about they were actually sent to Mars, I think. The kids, I mean. And they had fun, but then the adults were like, no, we need the kids. And then they all decided to make a deal and be families. And then this happened.
Adults created places to imprison children called schools, where they drained out all of our memories so that we'd forget we created them. And if that wasn't bad enough, they invented homework and after-school activities to control us even more. And you hear that coming from the fluorescent lights above your heads? That's the adult microwave cranial jellifier, slowly turning our brains into milkshakes. And the stuff they serve on Thursdays in the cafeteria? It's Rainbow Monkey! They're making us eat Rainbow Monkey! And then they make you brush your teeth because if your teeth rot out, then they can't implant the submolar tracking devices they use to tell where you go when you escape. It's a lie! Everything you know is a lie! They're crushing you beneath their heels and you can't even see it.
That's
Rise
enough!
up! Rise up and throw off the oppression! Rise up!
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go switch some lights on and hug myself while listening to the Adventure Time soundtrack now. But yeah, it turns out it was actually a class presentation, and in the end the teacher takes out a phone that was disguised as an apple and is like, they know, implying it was actually a secret plan all along, even though they pretend that number one is crazy. So yeah, it wasn't really anything to do with the episode at all except for the weird images. I just felt like my brain was gonna explode and I had no idea where these creepy things were coming from. So this last one is something that I was only scared of because of one scene, yet again. It's always just one scene or one thing for me, and the entire episode or movie is just tainted afterwards. It's a Treehouse of Horror episode, the 4th one to be exact. One of the stories has Homer finding a special portal behind the bookcase and deciding to go in there because Patty and Selma were coming over. The thing that scared me was him transforming into this very weird looking 3D version of himself and being stuck in this dark and ominous bland world where there was nowhere else to go. He eventually, I think, sticks something into the floor and gets sucked into the hole where he was, I think, taken to the real world. Something about transforming into a different state beyond your control and being stuck there as you slowly kind of melted away, it fucked with me. There's plenty a Star Trek episode that deals with shit like that, so that's probably why I'm liking it. So that's really about it for now. If I'm making the second video and I have some other things I forgot to do in this episode to do with film and movies and whatever, I'll add them here. But for now, you can check out the Chooks video if you haven't seen it, and I'm almost finished with Fran Bow, I think, so you can look forward to the ending on that. That's it for now, you fucks.